Hello and welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's find the best manager who was sacked immediately after losing to your club. Let's go through every Premier League team and find just how they were the camel that broke a top manager's back. Arsenal, Ronald Koeman. Okay lads, yes I know Ronald Koeman's time at Everton went up in a big ball of expensive flames, but let's be honest, he is a good manager. Sure, he has a CV littered with more clubs than Tiger Woods' golf bag. Christ, that was an awful joke. And he's picked up his fair share of sackings, but the lad has worked almost miracles with the Dutch national team. But yeah, back in October 2017, he was booted out the door at Goodison Park after a 5-2 reverse at home to Arsenal. This was a season where the Gunners won just 3 other games away from home, so it was probably fair enough. Aston Villa, Sir Bobby Robson. This was just shocking. The fact that Sir Bobby Robson was sacked after just 4 games in the 04-05 campaign, it was a disgusting decision by the Newcastle board. This is a guy who rescued Newcastle from the pits of hell, restored them to Champions League football and title fights, and had just committed the apparent cardinal sin of only finishing 5th. 5th and he gets sacked at Newcastle. Are you for real? This was a guy who coached Ronaldo, Luis Figo and Gaza. And you're telling me Graham Souness, a man destined for annual relegation battles, you're telling me he was better suited for the job? Robson's last game was a 4-2 meltdown defeat at Villa Park in August 2004. Having been 2-1 up at half time, his horrendous backline, about as sturdy as wet cornflakes, crumbled in the second half. I wonder, is it any coincidence that Sir Bobby was sacked just 5 days after dropping Alan Shearer to the bench? Interesting. I'd say the club captain didn't enjoy sitting on the bench at Villa Park. Then again, it wouldn't be his worst afternoon in that stadium. Bournemouth, Steve McClaren. Okay, I realise Steve McClaren's managerial career is dead in the water, but come on, this guy was once a UEFA Cup finalist with Middlesbrough, was once the England manager, won an Eredivisie with 20. There has to be a good manager in there somewhere. There has to be at least one iota of tactical competence somehow. Although, whatever rocked up at Newcastle United in the summer 2015 was a bumbling buffoon who didn't know his arse from his elbow. His final game was an ugly 3-1 reversal home to Bournemouth in March 2016, leaving Newcastle chained to 19th in the league with 10 games left. This was an embarrassing display, a 5th defeat in 6 games, a game where Stephen Taylor signed his career death warrant, tumbling around the pitch like a constipated penguin. The sheer anger from the fans during this game, and watching their mess of a team spanked at home by a newly promoted club, he had to go.
How are we losing to Bournemouth? Bournemouth FC of all teams? You kidding me, McLaren?
Brighton, Craig Brown. Okay, I know Craig Brown wasn't much of a manager at club level, but hey, he did last 70 games and 9 years as Scotland boss. He qualified his country for both Euro 96 and the 1998 World Cup. How many tournaments have they gone to since? That's an outstanding achievement. But yeah, an ugly 2-year stint at Preston North End ended in August 2004 after a 1-0 loss at Mark McGee's Brighton, the club's 3rd consecutive defeat. Burnley, Frank de Boer. Okay, Frank de Boer's management career is stuck halfway down an MLS bin, forced to seek out Atlantic United for employment. But lads, after 6 trophy-filled seasons as Ajax boss, this guy was once the most hyped coach in European football. Getting sacked after 5 games in England is bad for anyone's stock though, and yeah, in September 2017 he was given the boot by Crystal Palace, less than a month into the season. Sure, it was a dull 1-0 defeat at Turf Moor, a 4th straight defeat with not a goal scored, but lads, bit unfair, no? Chelsea, Tony Pulis. This is how a club accepts relegation mid-season. This was the worst thing West Brom could have done after a 4-0 home defeat at Chelsea in November 2017, when Eden Hazard used their ground as a goddamn dish rag. 2 days later, they were sacking Tony Pulis, which is like unplugging a bath. He doesn't play pretty football, but the guy knows how to keep teams in the division. Sacking him for Alan Pardew was ridiculous. Crystal Palace, Claude Puel. Look, Claude Puel is as dull as dishwater, but he is a good manager. A well-respected coach in France, he's managed some of his homeland's biggest clubs, and did well in England too. Apparently 8th in the cup final deserves a sacking at Southampton, but let's touch on his dismissal at Leicester in 2019. After 5 games without a win, he watches the former champions of England crumble to a 4-1 defeat at home to Crystal Palace, with the likes of Michy Batshuayi and Wilfred Zaha using the King Power as their own private bathroom stall. Everton, Carlo Ancelotti. I almost went with David Moyes, given the Man United sack just days after a 2-0 defeat to his former club. Bit embarrassing, the Everton fans probably haven't stopped laughing. But obviously he's not a patch on Carlo Ancelotti, who was apparently given the sack in the Goodison Park toilets back in May 2011. Sure, Chelsea had just lost 1-0 to Everton in the final game of the season, a match where Jermaine Beckford morphed into Lionel Messi to run half the length of the pitch. But I'm sorry, he still finished 2nd in the league. A year earlier he lifted a League and Cup double, and this is how you treat him? How spoiled can you get? Oh, by the way lads, try and hit 400k as soon as possible. If you could smash that subscribe button, it would be very much appreciated. Alright, that's enough of that, let's get back into the video. Leicester, Jose Mourinho. Not the first time Jose Mourinho was going to make this list, but yeah, the final nail in this man's coffin during his 2nd spell at Chelsea was that 2-1 defeat to Leicester in 2015. Imagine being told 6 months earlier, with Jose lifting the Premier League title as the Foxes scrambled over the line to safety. Imagine telling them by Christmas that Leicester would be top of the league, with Mourinho sacked lying 16th, just 1 point above relegation. It was the champions of England's 9th league defeat of the season. Absolutely mental. But yeah, this was a game decided by goals from Jimmy Vardy and Riyad Mahrez, as Claudio Ranieri finally got sweet revenge on the man who nicked his job at Stamford Bridge some 11 years earlier.
The fella who nicked my job! Didn't nick it? Nah, didn't want it anymore. He begged for it. I didn't. Shut up. What are you talking about?
Liverpool Jose Mourinho. Liverpool fans will have enjoyed this one. Jose Mourinho, an Anfield villain who shushed the fans at a cup final, repeatedly tried to nick their captain, masterminded their title bid downfall in 2014. Anything else I'm missing? I'm sure he called Rafa a fat bastard as well. He was almost given the boot after a 3-1 home defeat to Liverpool while Chelsea boss. Remember that nothing to say interview? But no, this was the sweetest for a Liverpool fan. As Man United boss, and just 1 week before Christmas, he was forced to watch his side crumble 3-1 at Anfield as the Reds shot to the top of the league. 36 shots to 6, 13 corners to 2, a fraction of possession. It could have been 6 or 7 goals. Xherdan Shaqiri might end his Anfield career a bench-warming tub of butter, but his legacy will forever be the guy who sentenced Mourinho's Manchester United career to a violent and swift death. Man City Sam Allardyce. Not many managers are given the boot after losing to Man City. It's not really a crime to get done over by a bank account of billions. But let's go back to the before the big money takeover. In January 2008, Newcastle lost 2-0 at home to a team filled with Michael Ball, Stephen Ireland and Darius Vassell. Alano and Gelson Fernandez fired home the goals as Sam Allardyce slumped to his 9th defeat as Newcastle boss. Allardyce is a steady mid-table manager. He does not get relegated, but he was gone within the week, with Mike Ashley ringing up the local football circus to drag back Kevin Keegan from out the wilderness. And that would end in tears too. Man United Martin O'Neill. Again, not many managers are given their P45 after losing to Man United. I could go for Avram Grant, booted by Chelsea after that Champions League final defeat in Moscow, but we all know he was a useless lump of fudge. I would rather Martin O'Neill manage my team than him, who himself was sacked by Sunderland in March 2013 after a 1-0 defeat at home to Man United, courtesy of a Titus Bramble own goal. Who else? Meaning O'Neill, a man once tipped to replace Fergie in the Man United hot seat, you know, back when he was leading Celtic to European finals. This defeat meant he'd gone 8 league games without a win as Sunderland boss. Probably the right decision, replacing with Paulo Di Canio was not. Newcastle Arsene Wenger. Back during the 03-04 season, it was Newcastle tipped by many to finally end Arsenal's unbeaten run. After winning at Stamford Bridge in February, this was arguably the biggest potential banana skin left. A trip to St James's Park in early April. It was a fortress. Newcastle only lost at home 3 times that season. But no, Arsene Wenger escaped with a goalless draw and unbeaten run still intact. Fast forward 12 years in the future and he wasn't so lucky. A 2-1 defeat to newly promoted Newcastle in the April sunshine, courtesy of a late Matt Ritchie winner. It forced the board's hand and his departure was announced a few days later. Norwich Alex McLeish. Well, had some idiotic Man City fans got their way, Pep Guardiola would have been booted after losing at Carrow Road in September. Instead, like Brown, let's go for a former Scotland manager who crashed and burned in club football. Alex McLeish is bang average short, but still, he has some managerial achievements and was given the boot by Aston Villa after the final game of the 11-12 season, a soulless 2-0 defeat in Norwich City. Just like how Paul Lambert was given the Norwich job after battering them 7-1 with Colchester, now he was given the Villa one after this audition. Sheffield United Alan Pardew. Had VAR not had its way, Mauricio Pochettino would have made this list. But no, this list is about defeats, not 1-1 draws. So step forward Alan Pardew, who lost his job at Charlton in November 2008 after a 5-2 home reverse disaster against Sheffield United in the Championship. When a club can stick Sunji High in their team and still score 5 goals away from home, that's when you know you should probably sack your manager. Southampton Claudio Ranieri. In 5 years, I doubt anyone will ever remember Claudio Ranieri was once the manager of Fulham. He lasted just 106 days in charge, dismissed in February of last year after a 2-0 defeat to Southampton, leaving the Cottagers rooted in 19th place and 10 points adrift of safety. This guy is the king of inconsistency with so many blotches on his CV, but hey, he's proven he is a good manager. Tottenham Stuart Pearce. Okay, I realise Stuart Pearce is not a good manager, but hey, there's literally nobody else. Pearce is the type of substandard managerial dross these City fans were forced to put up with before the takeover. He oversaw just 10 league goals at home all year. Good Christ. Anyway, he was sacked in May 2007 after a 2-1 defeat to Tottenham, which left him 14th in the league. Watford Steve Lomas. Okay, Watford was a tough one to find. Had Gareth Southgate been sacked 1 game earlier at Middlesbrough, then he'd have made this list, but no. Instead, Steve Lomas, who is a nothing manager, and was given the boot at Millwall just 22 matches into his reign, a 4-0 defeat at Watford in December 2013. West Ham Michael LOUDRUP. I almost went with the time that West Ham brought about the guillotine of Martin Yall at Fulham. This was a guy who was a bout of dodgy lasagna for being a Champions League level manager. But no, instead Michael LOUDRUP, sacked at Swansea in February 2014 after a 2-0 defeat at Upton Park. Fairly shocking considering it was just a year since he won the club a League Cup trophy, and in style with a 5-0 win in the final. Wolves Darko Milanic. Okay, let's chuck in a failed Leeds manager to see out the list. Darko Milanic, after just 6 games, just 32 days into his job, sacked in October 2014 after a 2-1 defeat to Wolves. Not a great manager, not even a good manager, but I literally could not find anyone else. Alright, that's the end of it, lads. Let me know, what do you think? Have I been too wet fair? Have I not been fair enough? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.